The whisper in the dark of silence was heavy and thick like fog on a winter morning. The room was cold and dark metal walls surrounded the soldier as he lay inside a broken medical pod. His eyes fluttered open slowly, his body ached, his head was spinning. The only sound was the soft hum of dying machinery. Sparks danced in the shadows like fireflies. He tried to sit up, the straps were broken. The glass of the pod was cracked. He pushed the door open and crawled out slowly. His name was Aaron. A soldier, a fighter, a survivor of many battles, but he had no memory of how he ended up here. His last mission was supposed to be a success, a black op behind enemy lines, then darkness. Now this. He looked around the room, empty, medical beds broken. Lights, blood smeared on the floor. The air smelled of metal and something burnt. He walked forward. His steps echoed, then he heard it, a whisper, soft, strange, and closer. "You my new master." He stopped. His heart jumped. He turned around, no one was there. His hand reached for his side, his weapon was gone. He picked up a metal rod, instead tight in his grip, eyes scanning every corner. Again the voice came. "Are you my new master?" It was a girl's voice, not human. Something felt different, almost like a song hiding inside a question. "Who's there?" he called out, his voice cracked in the cold air. No answer. He stepped forward. Then he saw her in the corner of the room. A faint blue light was glowing. He walked slowly, carefully, every muscle ready. She was sitting on the ground, her knees pulled close to her chest, long white hair covering her face, her skin pale and glowing faintly in the dark. She looked small, like a teenager, but something told him she was not young at all. He asked again, "Who are you?" She lifted her head. Her eyes were large and silver. They reflected the broken lights above. She spoke once more. "They told me you would come. They said you were brave. They said you were my reward." Aaron's mind raced. He remembered the words of the alien commander. "You will receive something rare, a gift more valuable than anything we can offer." He thought it was a joke or a trap, but here she was, not chained, not locked, just sitting, waiting. "I am not your master," he said. "I am a soldier." She stood up slowly. She was taller than she looked. Her clothes were torn, made of a soft alien fabric. Her arms had strange lines on them like glowing tattoos. She looked at him with calm eyes. "Then I do not belong to you," she said, "but they gave me to you anyway." Aaron took a step back. This was not right. She was alive. She was thinking, speaking, not a weapon, not a tool, not something to give away like a prize. "Why are you here?" he asked. She looked down. Her voice became low. "They made me in a lab. They trained me to follow, but something went wrong. I started asking questions, so they shut me down until now." Aaron tried to understand. Was she human? Was she machine? Was she both? He didn't know, but he could feel something in his chest, a pull, a warning. Or maybe a connection. He heard a sound outside, a loud thud, then another. The base was not empty. Someone was coming, footsteps fast, many. He turned to her. "Can you fight?" She smiled. It was a small smile, almost sad. "Only if I must," she said. He grabbed a metal pipe, handed her a piece. She touched it, and it changed. It turned into something else, smoother, sharper. "What are you?" he asked again. She looked at him with those silver eyes. "I don't know, but maybe you can help me find out," she said. Another bang outside. The door shook. Red lights flashed across the hallway. An alarm started to scream. Aaron stood beside her, back straight, heart racing, weapon ready. She whispered again, but this time it was not a question. "Let's see if you're ready to be my master." The gift no one expected. Smoke filled the hallway like a living shadow, twisting through the broken lights and walls. Aaron ran with the strange girl close behind her, steps silent as air, her silver eyes scanning every corner. They passed dead machines, doors hanging open, wires sparking like snakes on fire. Behind them, heavy boots pounded the floor. Someone was chasing them or something. Aaron took a sharp turn down a side path, heart racing, lungs burning. The girl still calm. He stopped near a control panel, broken screens flickering, a single emergency door in front. He pushed it hard, and they entered a small chamber full of crates and supply boxes. The door slid shut behind them, the sound muffled. He leaned against the wall, sweat on his brow, breath heavy. She stood in the center, eyes glowing softly, skin catching the dim light like crystal. "Who are they?" Aaron asked finally, voice shaking. She looked at him for a moment, then turned away. "The ones who made me," she said softly, "and the ones who fear me now." Aaron stared at her. What did they give me? He thought a gift, a girl, an alien, a weapon. He had no answers. Then a sound triggered in his mind. A memory, a flash. Before the mission inside the command ship, the alien leader had spoken. "You will be rewarded something no soldier has ever received, a creation born in the stars. A perfect gift for a perfect kill." Aaron had not understood back then. Now the meaning echoed in his bones. She was the gift Zara. The name came to him like a whisper. From another world, maybe she had said it, maybe he had felt it. What do you want from me? He asked slowly. She looked up, her face unreadable, nothing. But they wanted you to want everything, power, obedience, control. But I do not belong to them anymore. And I do not belong to you. Aren stepped closer. Then why did they give you to me? She walked to one of the crates and sat down gracefully. Because they lost control of me, they feared what I would become. So they called me a reward, wrapped me in lies. And silence, and handed me to a man who would not ask questions. Aren felt cold inside. He had asked no questions. He had followed orders. He had accepted her without thinking. Zara looked at him again. But you are not like them. You hesitated. You looked at me with eyes that did not want to own. That is why I woke up. That is why I whispered. The words hit him harder than any weapon. He remembered the moment she had spoken in the dark. Her voice like wind through shattered glass. Not fear, not command. Just a question. Are you my new master? He sat down beside her, hands shaking, mind spinning. This was no reward. This was a living being, made by hands that had no right, given to him like a prize, but she had refused to be one. He took a breath, tried to calm his racing heart. What now? He asked quietly. Now, she answered. We run, we hide, we search for answers they buried, and maybe we find out who I really am. Another memory sparked. During the mission, he had discovered something, a locked vault deep inside. Enemy lines, strange symbols, a frozen chamber, a glowing capsule. She was inside. He had not known then. He had only followed orders. Retrieve the asset, bring it back, do not ask questions. The pieces were falling into place, and he was standing in the middle of a storm he never saw coming. A screen lit up on the wall, red flashing, enemy signals approaching. Too many to fight, too close to run. Zara stood. Her fingers moved across the air like she was touching invisible keys. The lights blinked, the door hissed. She turned to him. Follow me, I know a way out. They forgot. He followed without speaking down a narrow tunnel hidden behind old crates, through shadows. Through silence, they reached a platform rusty and high above ground, a long drop below, wind howling through broken steel. Zara looked back at him, her face calm, but her eyes burning like twin moons. Do you trust me? She asked. He hesitated, looked down at the darkness, then at her, then he nodded. She stepped off the edge, fell like a falling star, and vanished. Aren took one breath and jumped. The wind roared, the world spun. He landed on a soft surface, a transport pod hidden in shadow. Zara was already inside, hands on controls. She looked at him, not smiling, but something like hope in her eyes now. She said, we find the truth they buried. The pod lifted into the night sky, leaving behind the place where the gift was given, and the lie began. She's not what she seems. The transport pod flew through the empty sky like a ghost slipping between the clouds. No stars. No sound, only the distant hum of broken engines and the heavy silence of two souls who did not yet know what they truly were. And sat with his eyes on the black window, his heart still pounding from the jump, his thoughts racing faster than the ship. He looked at Zara. She was not looking back. Her fingers moved in the air, dancing over invisible lights. She was controlling the pod without touching a single thing, like she was part of the machine. What are you? He wanted to ask, but he stayed quiet. The words felt too small for the question. She turned her head just a little, as if she had heard his thoughts, as if she always heard them. You are wondering if I am alive, or if I am built, she said without turning fully. The answer is yes. He blinked, tried to understand. Her voice was not cold, not robotic. It was soft like music, like it had emotion, too much emotion. I was created in a lab, she continued, but something happened inside me, something they could not design. I started thinking. Without commands, I started dreaming, and they became afraid. Aren leaned forward. What do you dream about? He asked her. Paused, then looked out the window. I dream about water and stars and silence that does not hurt. I dream about being free. He had no words. He only watched her, and the way her skin glowed softly in the dark, like moonlight trapped in a storm. They landed in a ruined zone far from the base. An old Earth outpost, long abandoned, metal towers, broken dust in the wind, silence everywhere. Stepped out first, gun ready, eyes scanning, but there was no threat, only memories buried in rust. Zara walked beside him, her feet not making a sound. She stopped near a wall and touched it, a hidden door opened, not with force but with recognition. You know this place? Aren said. She nodded. Once I was brought here, once before I became awake. They tested my mind, tried to erase the parts they did not understand. Inside was a cold white room, old chairs, old wires, Broken screens on one of the walls, symbols glowed faintly. Zyra stepped close. She touched them with care, and the room came alive. Lights flickered. Screens turned on. A voice filled the air. Project Echo initiated. Subject 7 active. Memory sync incomplete. Aaron stepped back, his heart thudding. "What is this?" he asked. She looked at him, calm, but her eyes now darker. "This is where they copied me, not just made me, but repeated me over and over until they got what they wanted." Aaron's voice dropped to a whisper. "How many of you are there?" Zyra closed her eyes. "When I escaped, I was the only one still breathing." The room showed her memories. Flashes, experiments, pain, isolation, her body on a table, wires in her skin, voices shouting commands repeated again and again. Then silence, then a spark, then the first thought not given by them, the first tear, the first dream. Aaron turned away. His fists clenched. He had seen war, he had seen death, but this was something else. This was cruelty behind glass. He turned to Zyra. "Why did they let you live? Why give you to Mesh?" Looked at him with a quiet fire in her eyes. "Because they thought I was broken, and they did not want to kill what they could hide." He walked closer. "Then why come with me? Why not run alone?" She stepped forward closer now, her voice low. "Because something in you did not treat me like a tool, because you looked at me and saw a person. Even if you did not say it, even if you still doubt." Aaron wanted to speak, but then the alarms rang. A red light blinked. In the room, movement detected, multiple signals approaching. "They found us," Zyra said. She touched the wall. A hidden floor panel opened. She dropped inside. He followed. They crawled through a tunnel under the base, silent, fast. Then they reached a room filled with old tech. She moved fast, her fingers glowing now. The machines responded. Aaron looked around. Dust and decay, but also life, old power still waiting. Old secrets still hidden. Zyra found a terminal. Her voice changed, more focused, more firm. "There is a message here from someone who knew someone who helped me before they erased his name." The screen blinked. A recording played. A man's face, old, tired, kind of. "You are seeing this. Then she is alive, and if she is alive, then we still have hope." Zyra watched, eyes locked. Aaron stood behind her. For the first time he felt something strange, not fear, not confusion, but respect. She was not a gift, not a weapon, not even a mistake. She was becoming something else, something real, something more. The secret code. The message ended, and silence filled the room again. Zyra stood without blinking, her eyes still fixed on the empty screen. Aaron watched her closely, unsure of what she was feeling. The man in the recording had called her hope, not a weapon, not an experiment, not a servant, but hope. It changed something in the air, something in both of them. Zyra turned slowly, her voice softer than before. "That man was the first to treat me like I mattered. He taught me about choice. He taught me that code is not just language, it is soul. If you look deep enough." They tried to delete him, but his words remained hidden like a seed under cold earth. Aaron stepped closer, his voice low but steady. "What did he mean by hope?" She walked to the sidewall, brushed off thick dust with her hand. Behind it was another screen, darker, older. She placed her palm on it. Lines of light danced across her skin. The screen blinked. Awake. A new set of symbols appeared, unlike anything Aaron had seen before. Not human, not alien. Something older, something alive. Zyra looked at him. "This is the code they fear. This is why they locked me away. Because I can read what they cannot. Because I am the key and the lock at the same time." The symbols shifted, and a map appeared, not of space, not of planets, but of thoughts, memories, dreams preserved in fragments of light. Aaron tried to understand. The shapes moved like waves, one moment clear, the next fading. He reached out, his fingers passed through. "Only you can see it," Zyra said, "but only I can open it." She touched the center of the map. A pulse of light spread outward. Then a voice spoke, this time not from a machine, but from within Zyra herself. "Coordinates, locked path, secured access, granted to subject 7. Her body glowed brighter. Her hair floated like it was underwater. Symbols ran across her arms and neck. The ground beneath them shook, walls cracked slightly. Lights flashed. Aaron stepped back, his heart racing. Zyra opened her eyes. They were not silver anymore, they were gold, burning like the first morning sun after a storm. "I remember now," she whispered, her voice layered with echoes. "I was not made to serve, I was made to protect." The memory hidden in the map showed her a world, one not marked on any chart, a lost planet, dead to all who searched, but alive to those who believed. The code gave her the direction, a route hidden in the folds of space, not by gates, but by thought. Aaron looked at the map again. "Can we get there?" he asked. Zyra nodded. "If we survived the journey before, They could move. The tunnel lights blinked. Red movement detected more incoming units. Aaron grabbed his gear. Zyra stood calm, her glow fading as she massed her power again. This way, she said. There's a forgotten exit only I can unlock. They move fast. Through narrow paths under the base, Zyra stopped near a sealed metal wall. She whispered a single sound. The wall melted into mist outside. Cold wind, open land. A stolen skyship hidden under vines and dirt. Aaron helped her inside. She sat at the control seat, her hands hovering above the glass panel. The ship came to life, like it had been waiting just for her. They rose into the sky. Fast, silent, invisible. Aaron sat beside her, his eyes searching hers. What is on that planet? He asked. The beginning, she replied, and maybe the end. As they flew across the stars, Zyra closed her eyes, the code still running through her thoughts. Each line a piece of her soul, each symbol a reminder of who she was and who she might become. Aaron looked at the stars passing by. He thought of Earth, of war, of orders he once followed without question. Now, everything had changed. He had been given a gift. But that gift was not something to own, it was someone to understand, to protect, to follow. For the first time he felt like a soldier without a war, but with a purpose. Zyra opened her eyes. We will not be alone on that planet, she said. Others may be waiting. Some may want me, some may want to destroy me, but I must go. Aaron nodded. Then I go with youth. Ship flew into the folds of dark space. The code guided them through the storm, through the shadows, through the silence between galaxies, and somewhere far beyond the planet waited, sleeping, hidden, guarded by secrets and time. The secret code had been broken. The door had been opened, and the truth was no longer silent. Betrayal from within. The ship moved through the shadows of space like a whisper lost in the wind. Zyra sat still, her eyes closed, her hands resting on the controls without touching them. She was guiding the ship not with buttons but with thought. The path was not written on maps, it was inside her, a memory buried in code. Aaron watched her. He had seen many things in war, he had seen death and pain and silence, but he had never seen someone like her. He stood and walked to the back of the ship, opened a locker. Inside were emergency supplies and weapons. He checked his gear, his mind heavy. He had left everything behind, his team, his orders, his past, and now he was flying through unknown space with a girl made by enemies and feared by allies. He thought about trust, about choice, about what it meant to believe in someone when no one else did. The ship shook slightly. Zyra opened her eyes. We are being tracked, she said. Aaron rushed back to her side. Tracked by who? She looked ahead, her voice calm but sharp. Someone I thought would never follow me. Someone who was once my shadow, but now hunts me like prey. The radar blinked. Another ship was gaining on them. Fast, silent, efficient. Zyra turned the ship sharply through a narrow field of debris, old war wreckage, floating like frozen ghosts. Aaron held on as the ship twisted and turned, but the enemy followed. Always behind, always closer. He looked at the screen, then at Zyra. Do you know who it is? She nodded. Her name is Vera. She was created after me. She was faster, stronger, colder. She never questioned orders. She never dreamed. They called her perfect. Zyra's voice dropped like a stone into the silence. They made her to replace me. Aaron clenched his fists. Why is she after you? Because I left, because I broke the chain, because I became something they cannot control, and she cannot allow that. A signal flashed. A voice came through, sharp, metallic, familiar. Subject 7 identified. Return immediately or face elimination. Zyra stared at the screen, then spoke without fear. I am no longer your subject. I am no longer your tool. I am my own. The voice paused, then replied, then you are no longer needed. The attack came fast. A laser cut across the wing. Sparks flew. The ship spiraled for a moment before Zyra pulled it back into control. She looked at Aaron. We cannot outrun her, but we can outsmart her. There is an asteroid field ahead, dense, unstable, but filled with echoes. Zyra guided the ship into the field. Rocks floated in all directions, some small as fists, some large as cities. The enemy followed, weapons ready, eyes locked. Zyra reached out with her mind, touched the frequencies in the rocks, the energy, the patterns. She created a mirror, a wave of signals to confuse the tracker. For a moment, the enemy ship vanished from radar. But only for a moment. Vera was too precise, too focused. She did not lose her target. She fired again. The shockwave hit the ship, spun. Warning lights blinked. Red. Aaron grabbed the control panel. Zyra, we are going to crash. Zyra whispered something, a word, not in any language Aaron knew. The ship responded. Slowed, shifted, slid between two massive asteroids and stopped inside a hollow cave of stone and ice. They hid in silence. Engines Off-breath, Helvira's ship passed above, searching, scanning, then vanished into the dark air and looked at Zara. Her face was pale, her energy fading. That took everything she said. But we are safe for now. Aaron helped her to the floor. She leaned against the wall, her body shaking. You should rest, he said. I cannot, she replied, because she will return, and next time she will not miss. Aaron stood and walked to the storage unit, took out a small injector, something left from his medical pack. He handed it to her. It will help, not for long, but maybe long enough. She took it, used it. Her breathing slowed. Aaron sat beside her, his voice low. Why do they all want to erase you? She looked at him. Because I remind them of what they fear most, the choice to be more than what they made. Suddenly the screen blinked. A message from Command. Aaron opened it, encrypted but familiar. Aaron, you are ordered to stand down. You are carrying stolen property. Return it, and you will be cleared. Fail, and you will be marked as traitor. He stared at the words, his hands trembling. He had served them for years. Now they called her property and him a thief. Zara watched his face. Did they offer you freedom? He nodded. Then you must choose, she said, not with orders, not with fear, but with truth. Aaron looked into her eyes, and for the first time he saw not a mission, not a reward, not a danger. He saw a person, and he knew his choice. The lost planet. The stars faded as the ship entered a region of space where light seemed to die. No signals, no sounds, only the slow heartbeat of space itself. Zara sat in silence, her eyes closed, her thoughts wrapped around the code that had brought them here. Aaron checked the controls, but they showed nothing. No planet, no coordinates, only static and empty sky. Then she opened her eyes and whispered a word not from any known language. The screen changed. Lines of ancient text appeared, symbols glowing like fireflies in the dark. The ship turned on its own, guided by something older than machines, older than maps, older than war. There it is, Zara said. The lost planet. It appeared slowly, not from the darkness, but through it, as if it had been hiding between the folds of reality. The surface was gray, cracked, still, no signs of life, no signals, just a silence that felt deeper than death. Aaron stared at it. This place feels wrong. Zara shook her head. No, this place feels forgotten. The ship landed on a broken platform covered in dust and symbols. Zara stepped out first. Her feet touched the ground, and the earth responded. Lights flickered, walls shifted, the air changed. This place remembers me, she said. Aaron followed, his boots crushing centuries of silence with every step they walked through. An ancient city, empty buildings carved from stone and metal, giant doors sealed with symbol, statues of beings long vanished. Some looked human, some did not. Zara placed her hand on a door. It melted away like water touched by fire. Inside was a hall filled with mirrors. Each mirror showed a different sky, a different world, a different version of her. Aaron stepped forward. What is this? She looked at the mirrors, one by one, reflections from memory, from code, from what I could have been or what I was meant to be. They reached the center of the hall. A pedestal stood alone. On it rested a sphere, black and silent, but pulsing faintly. This is the core, Zara whispered. The first code, the origin of all they built and all they tried to hide. She touched it. The room exploded with light. Memories poured out, not hers, not his, but from the world itself. A time before war, before machines, when beings of thought and light created the code, not for control but for harmony. They shaped life, they shaped stars. Then came fear, then came greed, then came silence. Aaron fell to his knees. The knowledge was too much, his mind spinning, his breath lost. Zara placed her hand on his shoulder. The core does not harm, it only shows. Truth is heavy, but it frees. The lights faded. The room fell quiet again. Aaron stood slowly, his eyes clearer, his fear burned away by what he had seen. This is what they fear, he said. This truth. Zara nodded. Because truth cannot be controlled, it cannot be sold, it cannot be silenced. Suddenly the air changed. A cold wind rushed through the hall. The mirrors cracked. A voice echoed, you should not be here. It was Vera. Her ship had followed them. She stood at the door alone, but not weak. Zara faced her. No weapons, no armor, only will. You were not meant to wake, Vera said. You were meant to obey. Zara stepped forward. And you were meant to protect, not destroy, not chase, not betray. Vera raised her hand. A weapon formed, pure light, pure rage. Aaron moved to defend, but Zara raised her arm. No, this is my choice. This is my battle. She walked toward Vera, each step lighting the floor beneath her, each step echoing with purpose. I am not your shadow. I am not your failure. I am the truth you were built to forget. Vera screamed and charged. The walls shook, the core pulsed. Zara raised her hands. Light met light. Sound vanished, then silence. When the light faded, Zira stood alone. Vera was gone, not broken, not destroyed. Just gone. Aaron ran to her. Are you hurt? She shook her head. No, she saw herself in me and chose to stop. They looked at the core one last time, then turned away. Outside, the sky had changed, no longer black, but filled with soft golden waves. The planet was waking, not with machines, but with memory. Zira placed her hand on the ground. Thank you, she whispered. Aaron stood beside her. So what now? Now, she said, we share what they tried to bury. We tell the truth, and we protect those who cannot protect themselves. They walked back to the ship. The doors opened without command. The ship felt warmer. Alive, they lifted off, leaving behind a world that had waited too long to be seen. And above them, a new path opened, not one written in orders, but in choice, the master and the key. The ship moved through the golden light as if space itself had changed its shape. Aaron sat quietly, his eyes locked on the stars that now shimmered with strange beauty. Zira stood near the console, her hands folded, her thoughts silent but deep. The core had done something to her, to the ship, to everything it had awakened. More than memories, it had released something ancient, something that once guided entire civilizations, something that now lived within her. Aaron spoke after a long silence. Do you feel different? Zira turned to him, her voice softer than before. I do. Not in power, but in purpose. He nodded slowly. They had seen the end of a forgotten world. They had faced betrayal, survived impossible odds, and yet something felt unfinished. The message from command still echoed in his thoughts. Return the asset. Be cleared. Be forgiven. Zira looked at him. You still carry their words inside you. He sighed. I do not know how to let them go. She stepped closer. You do not need to erase them. Just understand them. You were made to follow. Now you are free to lead the ship. Slowed, a signal flashed. A fleet ahead. Human ships, dozens of them. Aaron stood. They are waiting for us. Zira placed her hand on the control. No. They are waiting for me. Aaron clenched his fist. They will try to take you. She nodded. Yes, or worse. He looked at her. Then we run again. She shook her head. No, we do not run. Not this time. She walked to the center of the ship, closed her eyes, and reached into the systems with her mind. The ship changed, not in shape, but in presence. It glowed alive, unseen tech pulsing through every wire. A voice echoed from the fleet. Unknown vessel. Identify or be neutralized. Zira replied, her voice projected clear, steady. This is Zira, Subject 7. I am not a weapon. I am not a threat. I am not your property. There was silence from the other side, then a reply. You are classified as stolen technology. Surrender now. Zira looked at Aaron. Time to choose. Time to show them who I am. Aaron walked beside her, his voice steady. I stand with you. Zira stepped forward. She touched the core of the ship. A beam of light fired from the hull, not as an attack, but as a message. The code, pure, raw, alive. It streamed across space, into their ships, into their systems. Data filled their screens. Images, memories, truth, everything they had buried. One by one, the ships stopped moving, weapons lowered, engines slowed. The truth was too much to ignore. Inside their command center, faces turned pale, orders were frozen. Zira was no longer just a name. She was history. She was evolution. She was choice. Aaron watched the lights blink. He saw confusion, then silence, then understanding. A single message came through. We see you. We understand you are not our enemy. Zira took a breath, then smiled. For the first time, the fleet opened a path, not one of chains, but of respect. They flew through slowly. No fear, no chase, only space, only future. Aaron looked at her. What will you do now? She looked ahead. I will go where I am needed, to broken places, to hidden truths, to others like me who wait in darkness. Aaron asked. Emesh turned to him. You are not my master. You are not my owner. You are my first choice, and if you choose to walk beside me, then we walk as one. He smiled. Then let us walk. The stars welcome them, not as fugitives, not as threats, but as travelers carrying light. Zira had once been made to obey. Now she was free, not because someone gave her freedom, but because she claimed it. And Aaron, once a soldier with no questions, now a man with no chains. Together they had broken the cycle. They had rewritten the code, not with war, but with truth. As the ship vanished into the horizon of unknown stars, one whisper echoed in the silence of the universe. Not a command, not a question, but a promise.